box. Okay, great. Equipment you're going to need today is the usual. Although I will say, okay, so I normally tell you to grab 2 pencils. I maybe we'll just slightly change that. I'm just going to zoom in, so you'll see. Let me do the differently colored one. You'll see my pencils. This is a fancy pencil, and it has letters and numbers on it. You know, you can even use a pencil. Let me see. Like, for example, oh, that's a bad one here. You know, like here, I'm holding up a Sharpie right now. You know, sometimes it's just nice to use a different utensil so that instead of just looking at like the tip of a pencil, you're looking at letters on a pencil. Believe it or not, even just a small change, like looking at the letters of the word Sharpie versus the tip of a pencil, it just it changes enough, and it gives your brain and your nervous system enough variation where it's something new, it's something interesting, you're a little bit more focused. It can actually be a little bit harder. I've been changing my own eye games by reading the words on pencils, and it actually has gotten significantly harder for me. So if you normally use pencils or cooking utensils or whatever it is, yes, Cynthia, that's perfect. Use something that's got letters or numbers on it, whether it's a company name or a brand name like Sharpie. I'm going to stick with the pencils that I normally use because those have letters and numbers on them. But yes, switch it up and use something different. Your brain will thank you for it. And then just your letter ball. If you don't have your letter ball, a rolled up pair of socks with an interesting pattern for your eyes to look at. And then remember, for this class, because we do visual and vestibular work, that remember, it's okay if you feel dizzy, slightly nauseous, tired eyes, itchy eyes, watery eyes. But that means that you've met your edge. We don't want to go too far past your edge. So take a break, close your eyes, grab some water. Okay, let's get started here. So we'll come back to a grounded, seated or standing position of some sort. All right, and let's just move the shoulders around. Just start to come into your body a little bit more. All right, we'll come to a still point. We'll close the eyes. We'll start by finding your breath. Seeing if you can stay with that nasal breathing in and out of your nose. We're just going to do a scan today, comparing the right side of your body with the left side of your body. So maybe we'll start around the head, neck area, tops of the shoulders. And I'm just doing this scan. I'm scanning the right side of my neck and my shoulders. And then I'm noticing how the left side is feeling. And I'm just jumping my awareness back and forth from the left to the right side. Just noticing the difference between those two sides. Is it easier to feel and to sense one side compared to the other? Is my proprioception, my awareness of a side better than the others? So maybe I feel like I'm rotated, but really I'm not. So just noticing things like that. And then working your way down. So noticing in your trunk, how do the right side of your ribs, of your stomach area feel comparatively to the left? Moving down into your hips, the top of your hips, your glutes, your sit bones. How does the back of your pelvis feel, your sacrum area, And how does that feel comparatively left to right? And then moving down into the legs, the knees, the calves. Does one side feel more awake, more alive, maybe even more uncomfortable? Down into the feet. Go ahead and set your intention for class today. We'll take one more inhale, one more exhale, and we'll open the eyes. Okay, so I want you to take that information you used with your body scan. Don't overthink it here. But as we were scanning through there, if you had a side of your body, whether it was like, yeah, my whole left side is sleepier than my whole right side, or maybe it crisscrossed going down your body. But whatever sides of your body felt like there wasn't as much sensation, as much awareness, we're just going to start by rubbing those. So with the neck and the top of your shoulders, I want you to just give a rub and just wake up the side of your neck and shoulders that either you have less sensation in, less awareness in. And if you're unable to distinguish either of those, just which side of your body feels like it could use a little bit extra love this morning. Maybe one side of your body feels more tense. Okay, so just giving that area a little bit of rub and attention. Bringing some heat from your hand into that area. Yeah, and then working down. So what side of your trunk and your ribs was sleepier than the other side? And just giving that side a rub, rubbing the low back, the belly, the ribs, the chest on that side. Okay, and then same thing with the legs. And if both of your legs felt quiet or not much sensation there, you can do it to both legs. Or if you had one leg that was really quiet, just giving that leg a rub, some extra attention. If you can reach the ankle and the foot, give the ankle and the foot a rub. So bringing our attention, our awareness to these areas that are hard to sense and to feel is really important. It helps map our sensory input, our sensory maps onto our brain. We want to keep those areas working for us. Okay. Yeah, once you've done that, let's bring fingertips to the area just under the collarbones. Finding a tapping, and let's just do a couple hums here. So we'll take an inhale through the nose and then exhale, find a hum. Remember to bring that hum all the way to the end of your breath. Maybe just do one more. Good, then we're going to bring the hands down into your breastbone. So that breastbone is the bone. Basically, if you were wearing a tie, it's the bone where the tie would fall. So going right down the center of the chest. I just want you to take your fingers and just try to trace the outline of that bone. You might feel your ribs. So those little divots and mountains are your ribs. You might feel some tenderness in here. And then once you're able to more or less find the outline of that, that part of your chest area, I want you to take your fingers, bring them to the center of the breastbone, no matter high or low you are, and pull the fingers away from each other. Bring the fingers back to the center and pull and stretch that tissue away from each other. To the center, pull and stretch. like you're superhuman, Superman, Superwoman, and you're ripping that shirt off. Okay, so it's that same motion. The tissue in this area can get really restricted, especially when you're in a chair in any kind of a hunched forward position. So, okay, good. Shake the hands out. We're gonna get one more tender area in the chest that people are typically a bit tight. That area just in front of your armpit, so where your shoulder kind of connects with your chest. Yeah, we've actually got a acupressure point here called lung 1. And I just want you to take, again, a hand or a fist, whatever feels comfortable, and just rubbing that area. Yeah, you can pull the arm back behind you. You can leave the arm dangling down by your side, and just rubbing that area right in front of your armpit. Some of you might not be tight in here, but a lot of people are. Again, these chest muscles can get really restricted with a forward leaning posture. Okay, good. And then just release that and just move that arm. Do a couple of backward circles. Just notice notice how that feels. Notice how your breath feels. Do a couple of backward circles on the other arm. Okay. And then we're going to take that hand and we're going to massage the front of the armpit on that other side. Yeah. So Julie, that's a really good point. If anyone has scars on their chest from any kind of surgery, whether that's shoulder surgery, heart surgery, breast, any kind of a breast surgery, it is really, really important. And again, this varies person to person. You might want to check in with your doctor, but giving a little bit of a light rub over that scar tissue can help release some of the tension that's holding in that area. Yeah. Okay. And then same thing, just do a few more backward circles with that arm. That was maybe a 30-second self massage. But if you feel a difference, it just shows you how a little bit of self-touch can go a long way here. Yeah. So let's take the arms. We'll press the hands together in front of us. And then we're going to open the chest, open big, big, big. Pull the arms as far back behind you as you can. And then give yourself a hug and let your head hang heavy. Open the arms, get big. Pull, 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 open that chest that we just massaged, and then switch the direction of your arms, give yourself a hug. Good, open, and then hug. Yep, last one, open, and then hug. Okay. Can move this. We'll come to the ears here. So bringing your thumb just into that superficial part of your ear, or your knuckles if that's easier, and just find a few ear circles. So I'm just moving my ear in a gentle circle all the way around. Maybe do 4 or 5. I'm moving pretty slow here. Oof. Maybe doing 4 or 5 in each direction. If you feel like you hit a good spot and you just want to hold it, you can always hold it there. Okay, shake the hands out. And now I want you to pull the ears away from your head. So pull the ears away from each other. So just trying to create more space in between the ears. Again, these are really gentle movements. Don't overdo it here. And I just want you to notice where you feel the pull. When you pull the ears away, do you feel the pull more on the tops of your ears, below, behind your ears? Good. And then release and shake the hands out. And just notice if that shifted anything for you in that area. Okay. I'm just going to stay zoomed in here. We'll do a little bit of tongue work. Sorry, my charger keeps unplugging here. Okay, I think we were doing this last week, but just to refresh your memory, I'm going to talk you through it again. So your lips are going to be closed, and you're pushing your tongue. We'll start by pushing your tongue into your upper lip, like you're trying to fatten your upper lip with your tongue, but the lips stay closed the whole time. You're then going to draw your tongue in a circle all the way around your lips and your cheeks. The tongue stays in the mouth the whole time. So you're trying to reach that tongue into every corner of your mouth. See if you can do like 5 to 10 circles in one direction, 5 to 10 circles in the other direction. I'm just going to show you this here. Okay. As a reminder, try to not let the lower jaw wiggle as the tongue moves. We want that lower jaw to stay really steady. So we're differentiating the muscles of the tongue instead of cheating with the lower jaw. Yeah, so if you need to look at yourself on your camera or hold your lower jaw steady, just to notice like, okay, is my lower jaw moving? And you're doing 5 to 10 circles in each direction. Trying to keep the lips closed. Yeah, Julie, see if you can keep your lower jaw a little bit more steady. Yeah, it's hard when you don't have a mirror or you're not looking at yourself directly in front of you. Okay, when you've done those 5 to 10 circles, go ahead and relax. Come back to a seated position here. And then just find a few spinning rotations, knocking on the door of life. Let your knuckles tap the opposite side of your low back, if you can reach it. Okay. Good. And then coming back to the center, we'll bring hands to the belly. Let's find our clockwise circle, rubbing the belly, pressing into the belly. Again, no need to overdo it here, but the idea is to take up space. If your belly allows your hands to sink in, let your hands sink in, take up that space. If you get to a tender spot, pause. Ooh, that's a tender spot. Pause and take a few breaths into it. A little bit of discomfort is okay. We don't really want anything more than that though, because this is a really tender area. And if you overdo it, everything withdraws and everything kind of tightens up again. So we want that area to stay loose and relaxed, so it's receptive to our touch. Okay, good. Shake the hands out. Awesome. All right. We'll do a little bit of spinal mobility here. So bringing the hands up to the sky. Take an inhale, letting everything shrug up. And exhale, find an articulation all the way down. Take an inhale at the bottom. And then exhale, roll up. Good. Everything lifts back at the center. And then we're going to dive off to the left. So articulating down the left side of the body. Inhale at the bottom. And then exhale, roll up. Everything shrugs up. Exhale to roll down. The right side of the body this time. Inhale at the bottom. And then exhale to roll up. Good. We'll leave the arms up. And then we're just going to come into this wave-like motion. Pretend you're that seaweed at the bottom of the ocean. So just letting the body sway from the left to the right, leading with your ribs. Kind of exaggerating How far to the side can you go without tipping over? There you go, do a couple more. And then back to the center. We'll pull the hands behind us, interlace the fingers, open up the chest. Good, and then release that and we'll shake it out. Okay. We'll take the arms, we'll bring them into our goal post position. Yeah, and we're just gonna find that alternating, yeah, so one hand up, one hand down. And then I just want you to start to find that switch side to side. For my standing athletes, if you wanna do this more from the hips, so standing, pivoting, so the hips are internally rotated and then externally rotated. So heels together, heels apart. Yeah. Okay, good. And then we're going to switch that, moving down the body. So coming into the elbows and or the knees. So circling the hands around the elbows. For standing athletes, circling the knees around the ankles. So I just have my hands lightly resting on my knees and I'm just circling around, trying to keep my feet flat on the floor. They'll kind of be moving around a little bit. And then switching directions, whether you're doing the elbows or the knees. Okay, and then coming to the feet and the hands for my standing athletes. You're going to be doing ankle circles in each direction. For my seated athletes, make a fist or as close to a fist as you can, and you're going to do fist circles in each direction. Good, and we'll switch. For standing athletes, make sure you switch feet. Okay, good. So I'm going to layer on, take my socks off here. Okay, seated athletes, if you're able to, opening and spreading the hands and then closing and making a fist. Okay, so kind of flicking the hands out, open, close, open, close, open, close. If that's challenging for you, you're going to be doing it more from your wrists. So lifting the wrist up, pointing the wrist down, lifting up, pointing down. For standing athletes, you're going to be spreading the toes, curling the toes, spread, curl, spread, curl. And you can do this from a seated or a standing position. Spread, curl, open, open fist. Yep. Can you do it quicker for my seated athletes? That's it. And then go ahead and shake everything out. The hands and the arms, legs and the feet. Okay, nice. Okay, let's grab the letter ball. If you've played with me before, go ahead and go right into playing with your letter ball. Remember to be catching it and throwing it around you at every angle. For any new folks on here, I'm just going to explain this one again. So holding the ball into the chest, you're going to pull it away from your chest at any angle you want. Say the first letter or number that you see, pull it back into your chest. Pull it away from you at a different angle. Say the first letter or number you see, pull it back in. And you're just going to continue doing that, moving that ball around your body at all of the angles. As I always say, I'm just going to slip my socks back on here because my feet are cold. As I always say, remember to hit those angles above your head, directly above you, off to the left and off to the right. Goodness. If you've got a wall or a floor that you can bounce the ball off of, you can do that too. This game will get harder for you the more unpredictable you can make it. So that's why it's kind of nice to throw it against something, because it just adds a new component of unpredictability, how it's going to bounce, how you're going to catch it, what it's bouncing off of. Okay. We're going to layer on with that with the letter ball clock. Okay, so if you're with me last week, we did this last week. Let's see, I'll say here. So you're going to be throwing the ball to the 12 o'clock position and then to the 6 o'clock position, 1 o'clock position, 7 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 8 o'clock. Did I say that right? Sorry, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 11, and then 6 and 12. And you're going to continue with that. 12, 6, 1, 7, 2, 8, 3, 9, and so on. Just to really make sure we're hitting all of those angles around the body. And it's good for it's good for your brain speed too. If you can, shout out the number you're moving it to. So say if you're going 12, 6, 1, 7, 2, 8, and so on. Yeah, that's good, everybody. If you want to make it harder, you can play this with one hand. It can be your less dominant hand if you want to make it even harder. Yeah, there we go. Nice. Okay, just maybe do 5 or so more throws. That looks really good, everybody. Okay, and after those 5 throws, we'll take a break. Okay. Good. I'm gonna have you grab your pencils. Make sure, wait, sorry, I don't know if I said this to the beginning of class. Make sure you still have 2, and that the pencils or the pens that you grabbed both have letters on them, whether it's the brand name, a company name, whatever it is. Okay. We're gonna do the saccades, the eye jumps back and forth, but we're gonna use the letters on your pencil. So let's just say, here, I'm gonna use a Sharpie for one of my things. So let's just say I'm jumping back and forth between my Sharpie and my fancy lettered pencil over here. So remember the head doesn't move, just the eyes move. I'm gonna look at the S in Sharpie, and then I'm gonna look at the J on my other pencil. I'm gonna look at the H in Sharpie, and then T on my other pencil. The A in Sharpie, the R on the other pencil, the R in Sharpie, and so on. So your eyes are really targeting at a specific letter on each pen or pencil. Remember, head doesn't move, it's just the eyes that move. Yeah, there you go, Pat, just the eyes are moving. So start by working up and down, depending on how many letters you have on your pencil. Do it maybe 2 times through, so like about 20 times. And you're going to do that in all the directions. You're going to do it side to side, up, down, at one diagonal, and then at the other diagonal. 20 times in all of those directions. 20 times being there and back is 1, there and back is 2. Okay, looking at the specific letters on each pencil, working your way down. For standing athletes, if you want to make this harder, you can do the standing, you can balance, okay, whatever is accessible for you. For blind or visually impaired athletes, we're going to bring this into the head movements. Okay, so you can keep your hands out holding those pencils if that's a good target for your nose to point to, and just moving your nose quickly back and forth from one pencil to the other. Again, 20 times in each direction, side to side, up, down, and at both of the diagonals. This, for folks that are reading the letters on the pens or pencils, you might notice that you're moving slower. Your eyes are jumping slower because not only am I making you focus on a specific letter on the pencil, but I'm making you remember what letter you're jumping back and forth from. If you're halfway through the word Sharpie and you can't remember what letter you're on, then you're going to repeat a couple of letters. Okay. So it's also a bit of a brain game and a memory game here. I promise it gets easier as you go. And if it doesn't get easier as you go, just give it some time. Yeah, so I see people moving through that. No rush. Yeah, yeah. And you'll find, so when I first did this looking at the letters, I got a little nauseous. Because even though we've done these eye games before, again, it's just a whole new ball game when you make it a bit more specific. So if you're not feeling great, take a break, grab some water, close the eyes. When you're done with 20 in each direction, just find a roll down to the ground so I know you're done. Or lean forward, yeah. Yeah, Diane, remember to keep the head steady. There you go. Head steady, just the eyes move. Yeah. Yeah, for people that are rolled forward, just find your breath. And then slowly find a roll all the way back up. Okay, and I'm just curious, let's just get a thumb reading here because I'm just curious how that was for people. Damn, and I should have done a before and after, and I always forget that. That's okay, we'll do that next time. Can I get a thumbs up if that was still relatively easy for you, a side thumb if it was medium, and a down thumb if it was more challenging than what we normally do? This is like the one time where the downwards thumb is actually a good thing. Okay, I see mainly down thumbs and some side thumbs. Yeah, okay, cool. So again, it doesn't take much, but our brain likes variation, so it's important to vary this stuff. Okay, good. Let's bring the arms up, just coming back into the shoulders, and we'll just come into a nice backstroke. If you're not nasal breathing, see if you can come back to nasal breathing just to calm the body down. Good. And then both arms are going to come out into a T. We'll take a side bend to the left and center, and a side bend right. Good. Inhale to side bend. Exhale, center. Inhale, side bend and center. Side bend and center. Last one. Side bend and center. Good. Hands are going to come to the ribs. Let's just go right into that full hula hooping of the ribs around the hips. Maybe my side profile here. Try to get every corner. So just like that, that clock that we used, if you had a clock sitting on your pelvis or your lap that was parallel with the floor, are you able to move your ribs around to every number? 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. What part of that clock is sticky for you or hard for you to move your ribs into? Switch directions. Yeah, remember to try to keep your shoulders parallel with the floor. So just gliding the ribs around. Okay, and then coming back to the center. Okay, we haven't done these in a while. So this is a reminder. So I want you to lean to your right. So let your full body lean to your right. And I want you to pretend like you just sat in gum under that left butt cheek. You're like, ew, gross. And you're trying to lift that butt cheek off of the chair. So you're trying to hike that left butt cheek, trying to peel that butt cheek out of the really gross pink gum that you just sat on. Because the gum is always pink. Why is that? And then bring the hip back down. Okay, same thing going the other way. So lean, try to lift the butt cheek out of the gum, and then coming back down. Yep. Lean and lift and down. Okay. Keep going with this one. If you're having a hard time with the seated balance, notice that I have my hands. So if I'm leaning to my right, my hands are off to my left. If I lean to my left, my hands are off to the right because it helps me counterbalance. So if you're a little nervous about balance here, you can do that. On the other side, if you want to make it harder, we're going to bring the hands to the side that you're leaning. So if you're leaning to the right, bring your hands to the right. Okay, notice how that gets a lot harder. If you're leaning to the left, bring your hands to the left. Yeah, so if you need some help with this one, use your hands to counterbalance. If you want a challenge with this one, use your arms as a weight to make it harder. Yeah, like you're superhuman flying off into one side, superhuman flying off into the other side. Just do a couple more like that. Good, and then back to the center. Shake the arms out. All right. Let's grab just one pencil this time. Okay, and we'll all be doing the same thing for this one. Actually, let's, for folks that are blind or visually impaired, I'm gonna give you something slightly different because you just did this one. Okay, for everybody else, we're gonna do, excuse me, the VOR, so that vestibulo ocular reflex. So looking at, here, I'll use my Sharpie again. Okay, so looking at your pen, pick a tiny letter. Pick the tiniest letter you have that you can still clearly see on your Sharpie. Okay, I see some furrowed eyebrows. That's probably a good thing. Okay, you're gonna start, so keeping your eyes locked on that tiny letter, you're gonna move your head side to side. Remember, as quickly as you can, or I should say only as quickly as you can, where you can still keep your focus on that tiny letter. The faster you move, the harder this becomes. The slower you move, the easier this becomes. 20 in each direction, side, side, up, down, one diagonal, the other diagonal, okay? And then just do a check-in, like, can your head move more? Maybe you slow it down and, oh yeah, my head can move more in each direction, but I just move a little slower. Okay, so just play with your range of motion there that your neck is going to allow you to move. Okay, for folks that are blind or visually impaired, I'm going to bring you into circles. So arms will be crossed over the chest. If you're a standing athlete, you can be spinning in circles. If you're a seated athlete, you can either use your chair to spin you in circles, or you can use your body to turn you around. So I'm just circling my body, my trunk around my pelvis. I'm bringing my head with me, bring your eyes with you, moving as quickly as you can, again, just to challenge the vestibular system. Yeah, that's for folks that are blind or visually impaired. Everyone else, keep moving through those head shakes in all of the directions. There we go. Remember, eyes stay on that pen or pencil. Eyes stay on the pencil and the head moves. If you're doing the diagonal, remember to really do the full diagonal. Your nose points up in one direction, down in the other direction. There we go. There we go. Nice, everybody. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. When you've done 20 or so, just so I know that you're done, just come into your swinging rotation, knocking on the door of life. No rush if you're still moving through that. Yeah, yeah. I know this one is always, yeah. Lynn, is it any easier to keep the head steady and to do this one? Okay, if that's easier, do that one, because this is still really working the vestibular system, and you're just bringing your eyes with you. So like my eyes are just quickly moving around the room, but my head, notice my neck actually isn't moving. So everything is staying with my body. Yeah. Yeah. Does that feel okay for the neck? Yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, yeah. That's a good alternative. Okay. Cool. Okay, awesome. Go ahead and relax unless you're finishing that one up. And then I know we didn't do a check or an assessment in the beginning of class, but let's just do it now. It's never too late, right? So let's just start with a few overhead arm raises. And then just notice how this is feeling for you comparative to other days, to other classes. Does anything feel different? Let's come back into our goalpost position with our shoulders internally rotating up and down. And just noticing how that's feeling. We did do this one in the beginning of class, so notice if there's a difference from the beginning of class. Good. Okay, and then we'll let the arms go down. We'll just turn the head and the neck to the left. And then turn the head and neck to the right. You can do this just from your trunk too, if that's easier. Do that a couple more times. And then back to the center. We'll cross the arms over the chest. We'll let the whole spine rotate with us now. Rotating left. And then right. Okay, and coming back to center. All right, give the shoulders a few shoulder circle rolls. Yeah. And then go and relax. We'll close the eyes. Coming back to your breath. And then just find that same body scan, comparing the left to the right side of your body. So starting at your neck and shoulders, down your rib cage, your trunk, through your hips, your legs, knees and calves, ankles and feet. Notice if anything changed there for you. And then just thinking of one thing you're grateful for today. Take one more inhale. One more exhale. And we'll open the eyes. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Just one announcement here. Yeah, and then I just want to say, yeah, because I got a comment on this. When we were doing those eye movements, just noticing what was hard for you, what movement for either the eye and or the head movements If you had a specific angle that was super challenging for you, like one of the diagonals or left to right, just noting that. That's something that you can do on the off days when we don't have this class. You can spend a little bit of extra time doing that harder angle for you. So it's just good information for you to have. Cool. Let's see, we've got the Rev Ride this weekend, Saturday. If you haven't signed up already, Cynthia or Claudia will drop that down into the chat box. We are doing the ride and then a bunch of really fun activities at the bike house. If you want to stay virtual, you can stay virtual. We're offering a whole very full day of virtual classes too, so you can do that also. For those of you that are unaware, and I think you all have heard this many times, but for the recording, this is our big annual fundraiser. So bring your friends, bring your family. It's a blast. This is always a really fun event.